RPG de mesa mais famoso da cultura pop está prestes a receber uma adaptação grandiosa para os cinemas. E, ao que tudo indica, vai fazer jus à escala épica que os jogadores estão acostumados a viver nas suas campanhas. Dungeons & Dragons Honra Entre Rebeldes não economizou no carisma do elenco. Alguns dos rebeldes dessa aventura são Chris Pine, Justice Smith, Regé-Jean Page e Hugh Grant, que, como você deve lembrar, vieram na CCXP 22 e conversaram comigo sobre como foi trabalhar numa produção tão grandiosa. Tá pronto para ver o que eles disseram? Mas antes de começar, não esquece de curtir o vídeo, assinar o canal e clicar no sininho para não perder nenhuma notificação. E não precisa nem jogar um dado de 20 faces, porque é só clicar aqui no botão que a sua ação vai dar certo, beleza? Você talvez já tenha esquecido de Dungeons & Dragons A Aventura Começa, a adaptação que o RPG recebeu lá em 2000 e rendeu toda uma trilogia. Nenhum dos 3 filmes chamou muita atenção do público, muito por causa da falta de qualidade, né? Então a franquia foi um fracasso nas telonas. Mas, de lá pra cá, muita coisa mudou pro gênero da fantasia, ainda bem. Filmes como O Senhor dos Anéis, A Sociedade do Anel e Harry Potter, lá daquela época mesmo, vieram para mostrar que a fantasia tinha sim o seu espaço. Espaço esse que só cresceu nas últimas décadas. Eu conversei um pouquinho com o elenco sobre a ascensão do gênero e como o novo D&D se encaixa nisso.
I feel like this is some kind of different fantasy, right? Because it's no mystery that it's not a niche genre anymore, but it's getting kind of more meta, more self-aware. Is this the case of Dungeons & Dragons? Can you talk a little bit about it?
In a word, no. It's not, this is not a meta self-aware.
Yeah, I'm actually happy that it's not self-aware. I mean, it's humorous. It doesn't take itself too seriously, but it allows itself to have weight. I find that more recently people have a hard time with vulnerability. And I'm happy that this movie isn't one of those, like you said, wink wink movies. This movie is like, no, we're in the world, these are the characters, you're gonna get with it or you're gonna get out.
Like you can have a joke without having to undercut yourself. You can have humor without having to have a target. I think the real skill that John and Jonathan has had, they love this one. And that was the most surprising thing I think the script of, because like a lot of the fans, I received the script with a bit of trepidation. It's like the Dungeons & Dragons movie, what's this gonna be? And then by the end you're like, oh wait, this is great. There's so much heart here. There's so many human journeys in this story, and it's hilarious without ever undercutting itself. It's not afraid to be earnest, but they're smart enough and funny enough to do that in a world where there is real weight to it. You do get to kind of immerse yourself in it, and it feels like playing the game without having to kind of wink and nudge itself and undercut itself to say, oh, but it's not that serious. Like, no, it is, but it's also still funny, and it's also still chaotic, and it's just fun.
It's awesome. It's awesome. Is that it?
Yeah,
pretty much.
awesome.
Yeah, pretty much. Awesome.
Great.
I think the great thing about this is that it's none of those. It's very earnest and heartfelt. It reminds me of the films that I grew up watching. There's Princess Bride in it. There's a bit of Monty Python just for the comedy of it. But then there's the serious Game of Thrones spirit of it. But it is true, I would say, earnest, heartfelt fantasy. There's nothing meta in the sense of being too cool for school or postmodern cracks and stuff done with a wink. There's none of that.
Do you agree with you?
I don't have an intelligent answer to that question because I haven't really seen any fantasy films in the last 10 years. I did try once.
Which movie?
I can't remember. It was a Marvel film, I think.
But it was not a great
I didn't understand what was happening.
I see.
Yeah.
He just watches Merchant Ivory films.
Oh, I see.
I watched my own film.
Oh, thank you, my darlings. Thank you. Thank you.
Look, Chris, you said in San Diego that this movie has like a Steven Spielberg feel. Is that what you mean by?
Yeah, it's my layman's way of making sense and understanding of. I guess it's just saying it's earnest and heartfelt.
That's good.
It's just,
That's good. But earnest makes it sound humorless. The reason I wanted to be in it was because it was funny. It made me laugh. But yes, Spielberg is good. Rob Reiner is good as a model.
Yeah. Rob Reiner? Really? Okay.
Well, he made Princess Bride.
No, I know.
Stand By Me.
Oh yeah, he did. I'm sorry, I didn't. Yeah, of course he made Princess Bride. Anyway.
I'm sorry.
Não dá pra jogar uma campanha sozinho, então a produção de Honra Entre Rebeldes teve que sair por aí, procurando pelos melhores bardos, paladinos e feiticeiros de Hollywood. O resultado foi um elenco bastante carismático, como vocês já puderam perceber. Mas assim, não dá pra negar que um dos destaques seja o Hugh Grant saindo completamente da sua zona de conforto e fazendo um blockbuster fantástico, que destoa muito, mas muito do restante da sua filmografia. Então, eu perguntei pro Hugh, que é meu amigo pessoal já, e pros nossos outros entrevistados, como foi a experiência de atuar nesse projeto.
You're no strangers to fandoms, but I feel like this is your first movie like dealing with the fandom culture that can be very tricky.
And what culture?
The fandom. Are you nervous about it? Or you
Yeah, very.
Really?
Very. Yeah, I looked online when the film was announced. The hardcore Dungeons and Dragons people were instantly very protective of their game and wanted to hate us. So I'm terrified.
It's kind of a period piece, and you're no stranger to that, but playing with the fantasy element, does it change your performance, inform the way you interact with the world around you, even though it's a lot of CG?
I mean, more swords and more dragons. And so that's the biggest change.
I see.
You interact with the dragons slightly differently than you do with human royalty. But only slightly. It kind of depends on what kind of mood either the dragon or the royalty are in. Swords can be handy in both situations. That is my tangent for the day.
I hate that. I hate that. Oh god.
You, on the other hand, had a great experience working around fantastic creatures in Detective Pikachu. Did that experience help you in Dungeons and Dragons and playing with your sorcery kind of thing?
Yeah, definitely. I've done a lot of movies where I'm running away from giant lizards.
It's true.
Jurassic.
Yeah. Flawless segue.
Yeah. I don't know where to go from here.
I would have made a Charizard joke myself.
Oh, okay. But you're better at crafting jokes in the moment. I'm not as good as that. But anyways, I will say having that experience of running away from giant lizards definitely prepared me for this movie because there were a lot of giant lizards in this movie.
It seemed like it.
The beautiful part is that a lot of them are practical. You know?
Ooh.
Yeah, it's not like, I mean, we do have CGI, but a lot of what you see in the movie is like actually there. We witnessed it. We
Like the
were
creatures
looking
are
at
right
it,
there. You're
interacting
acting
with
with
it.
them.
Yes.
Are you for real?
Extraordinary.
Yes.
Yeah.
How cool.
Yes.
Like some of the most advanced animatronic like puppetry I've ever seen. Like in a bunch of the scenes, if you see like a pile of barrels, there's probably a guy behind it with a remote control, like controlling the Dragon Ball.
Yes. So that was refreshing.
You guys must feel like kids in sets like this, no? Because
100%.
Just listening to it, I'm just very excited to be a part of it. So how was it? How was it to be like a
It
part
felt
of it?
like that.
Yeah?
Yeah, it felt like being a kid again. Like it was like the ultimate game of pretend. You know? That is the game. When you play Dungeons and Dragons, like it's essentially just a large game of pretend, you know, and you're just engaging your imagination with your friends, and you guys are all being creative together and crafting this story. And it was just a more expensive version of that.
Can I ask about each other's characters? Chris, how would you describe Hugh's character?
Hugh plays a character named Forge Fitzwilliam, who is a con man. He's a rogue. He's very charming, very duplicitous,
Bit of oily,
oily, yeah, a bit of a narcissist.
bit gelatinous, like the cube.
I see.
Oh, well played. Yeah,
I agree, well played.
well played, darling.
What about Chris's?
Well, he's just delightful. He's a bard, lute, singer, playmaker, not that successful, which is always very charming. And that's a lot of the characters in this film are not very successful at what they're meant to do. The sorcerer is a crap sorcerer, the barbarian's a bit of a failure. And I think that's very endearing.
You played a narcissist in Paddington 2. I'm sorry, I have to talk about it. I'm a big fan of this movie. Did that in any way, dressing up as a nun, make you take yourself less serious for this kind of role, or no?
I was very happy as a nun, is all I can tell you.
Oh, I
I
see.
was strangely happy. And I still have the costume.
Really?
And every Thursday, I put it on and have dinner by myself.
Oh my god. And then what you do after?
I cry.
You cry?
Why do I cry?
You cry yourself to sleep.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Yes.
I see. Oh,
With
what?
Jesus.
With Jesus.
Oh boy.
Oh my god. I would never take you as a Christian,
Stop.
like a full Christian. This is amazing.
This little
Yeah.
trails. Thank you.
Move on.
E, para finalizar, eu achei de bom tom perguntar como seria a mesa de RPG do próprio elenco. Com quais classes será que eles jogariam?
If you were to play Dungeons and Dragons today, would you keep your character's class, or would you change it? Are you jealous of any of your castmates?
No, I love magic. I love being able to do magic. That's really cool.
What about you?
Oh, my Zenk is awesome. I'm not trained Zenk for the world.
I like being a bard, quite honestly. I don't need to have a very special skill at all. I like to be the party planner and generally be good at nothing.
Is that the one you pick when you're playing with your castmates or your math? Oh, great. Yeah. What about you, Hugh?
I want to be a tiefling.
A tiefling.
Yes, a tiefling.
E aí, depois de tudo que eles falaram, você empolgou mais pra Dungeons & Dragons Honra Entre Rebeldes? Conta pra gente aqui nos comentários se você acha que esse novo filme vai fazer jus ao legado de D&D e Caverna do Dragão, não vamos esquecer. Lembra também de curtir o vídeo, clicar no sininho e assinar o canal. Um beijo e até a próxima.
Thank you very much. Oh yeah, you're wearing a Paddington Bear shirt.
That's
no!
mine.
Oh.